that comes after what I'm saying, those that are particularly addressing you, for you to get crash test dummies. If you've been to Disney World, that's like a super fun ride where you go zipping around like you're a crash test dummy. But the reality is, for every one of us in here, we're not working with crash test dummies. We're working with me, my wife, my kids, your wife, something that will also connect with the buildings, connect with the people, connect with whatever's going on around. Do you have an opportunity in what you're doing to be able to make a connection and an infrastructure play? I want to leave the few remaining minutes I have to answer any questions. Chris has told you what you can do, and he's going to come up and explain to you how you can send in your questions. And I wanted to start with one that I'm asked all the time, just to prime the pump. And I'm usually asked something like this: Paul, who's going to win this war? Is it somebody like a Toyota, where their US headquarters are right down the road from me in Texas? Some car type of place? Or is it somebody like Google? Some Mr. Digital, Mr. Technology? And the answer is, I think it's both of them. Both are making forays into the other space. Both are working to establish partnerships and relationships. I think regardless of if you're in the digital technology sector or you're in the automotive transportation sector, both are coming together to work this issue, to bring together whatever they need to do to help the future.
That's great, Paul. Thank you so much. You are challenging us to think a little bit differently, and we appreciate that. So I do have a few questions here for you. First one is, how soon will 3D printed parts show up as functional automotive parts?
I think that that's happening right now only on these specialty projects and that type of thing. Nothing I've seen is happening and ready to go in the short term. And one of the big issues with that is the cost involvement. As I explained, I was able to do this type of project, kind of at desk type of things on it. To do that car, that's big equipment. Would the big car companies invest in it? Yes. But is it cheap and as effective as doing it the traditional way that they've ironed out over 100 years? No. So I think there are many challenges, particularly related to price, as it is. I am not enough of a capital equipment expert on when that's coming, but I don't think it's around, in the next 5 years or something like that. What I do think is going to be that it will take over all the design and the prototyping and all that type of thing. That is happening right now, and essentially this whole modeling, seeing it on 3D, printing it out, playing with it, touching it. What does it look like on our desk? Do we want it to be this shape or that shape? Well, let's make 10 models and have a meeting next week. That is happening right now. That is a reality. That is happening every place. And if you're not doing that type of thing, making hardcore models, I would encourage you to consider that.
Yeah, we do know that several of our movers, the parts suppliers and manufacturers, are using 3D printing for that very purpose. So a lot, not all of them are, but a lot of them are doing that.
So that's great. Your business should be going fantastic, and you should emphasize that and go out and articulate that message, and you should go work that space and be leaders in that, because you can only expand it. But you should be in high demand with people's desire to have your services. So I would applaud you on that.
That's great. All right, next question. What is the limit to where sensors can be used to collect physical data?
Right now, one of the big problems with it is the issue that's getting worked on of what you may have heard of as the edge. Right now, if we have to send data, like I'm driving down the street at 60 miles an hour and have to get all this information up and decide what it's going to do, the processing might have to happen somewhere like the cloud, which means I have to send it somewhere and get it processed and come back. They are working on bringing things in the system to the edge, where, if you will, these AI chips can do the necessary quick, that means blink of an eye, before you would even know it, I need to do whatever with my car. So always less than, I'll just say a 20th of a second that something would respond to the edge in the system. Those are not there yet, but I'm telling you the electronic products are getting introduced to the market to do all those type of things and will be coming to market. That is why companies like Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, all these AI chip companies that you may have heard about in the news, that is where all their efforts are and what they're doing, making AI chips that can do inference and machine learning, and those can be placed closer, meaning more real time to wherever they're needed.
They're constantly changing and evolving.
Yes,
obviously.
yeah.
All right, last question is, the majority of the attendees here are manufacturers and distributors of automotive parts. And they're focused on making parts, warehousing them, selling them, supporting their customers, et cetera. How would people who are focused on that, because you mentioned taking a message back, how are people focused on these areas able to help their companies develop or implement IoT technologies?
My company is a $2 billion electronic distributor. Don't make any parts. But I talk about what I go around and do. What we focus on in the company is the cutting edge 1%. We know that somebody will buy resistors from us if they see us as a technology leader to go, where am I supposed to get the AI chip? Even if only 100 people in the world need that chip, if I have something that's special, new, cool, awesome, state-of-the-art, just invented yesterday, they'll come to me for all those other things. What I would encourage you to consider is to make sure, no matter what you're doing, distributor, manufacturing, that type of stuff, is that you are staying abreast with the technology. I'm saying that the technology, abreastment, helps you keep that competitive edge. If you just say, I'm gonna do it through traditional manufacturing costs, if you recall that I had with the tech company, you'll really, really optimize that issue. The problem will be nobody wants that model a few years from now. They're gonna want the flexible, highly adaptive, highly interconnected model. You have to think that way. You can still sell a lot of phones even if they're not Samsung Galaxy 9. But you need to be armed, right, with the Samsung Galaxy 9 if you're selling phones, right? And so I would encourage you always to make sure a part of your business and how you're communicating to the world is cutting edge, leading edge.
Great, outstanding. Well, please help me thank Paul for joining us today and sharing this.